What's up, guys? We are back with a NECA Toys Turtles review, taking a look at the latest in Loot Crate action figures. So we, of course, have got the final crate, and if you got all three of the crates, you got this full set. So we've got our cartoon bunny suit, BEBOP and Rocksteady here. And this crate came with actually a lot of cool stuff. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It came with this snazzy Channel 6 hat, which I will never wear again, I'm sure. But the focus is, of course, these two figures because, well, they're ridiculous and we would never get these at retail. And I'm actually really excited about these. They come in unique packaging for this line, for one, and they're selling for stupid money on the aftermarket because people are regretting not getting the loot crates. And then, of course, I don't know, people just have, FOMO, the fear of missing out. But we've got them here today, so we're going to take a look at both of them. I am, of course, going to be opening these guys. So you got Rocksteady here, and we've got BEBOP. And like I said, they do come in kind of unique packaging because these are single pack figures for this line, and everything so far has been a 2-pack. So it's still really similar, it's just a single design. So you got the figure there in the window, you've got some cartoon style artwork down there in the corner, product shots on the side panels, and then the back of the box is really cool because you got a shot of this figure, but then you've got a cross-sell for like the entire line so far, basically, which we have not seen at all on any of the other packages. So just a little bit different, but still very similar. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go. Out of the package are Bunny Suit, BEBOP, and Rocksteady. So again, these are the Loot Crate exclusive figures, and so this rounds out the last set of 3. And if you got all 3 crates, you get both of these guys. If you only got the Toon crate by itself, well, you got Rocksteady and BEBOP was the bonus. But I'm really excited about these because I like this kind of stuff. I like the weird, goofy figures. And let's be honest, this would, I don't know, it might work at retail, but at the same time, would it really? I'm not so sure because there's a lot of folks that really want this. There's a lot of folks that really hate this. There's a lot of people that are really upset they didn't get it and are spending ridiculous money for it now. So I guess time will tell on that one. I do think we've got some pretty cool figures here though. Not a whole lot of new stuff to talk about. I mean, these are figures that have some new parts. There are some new pieces, but for the most part, it's just sort of retreads of BEBOP and Rocksteady. So not a great deal to really go over. So we're going to jump into articulation, see how these guys work. We're only going to do one of them because, well, they are the same. They are the same figure except for the head scope. So we will pull Rocksteady aside. And as far as moving these guys around, they are really similar to the regular figures. So heads go up and down, and then you've got some tilt side to side, and then you can rotate as well. Their heads are kind of like attached on the inside of this bunny suit, but it's still the same heads as best I can tell. So they do have articulated jaws, but they don't really work because, you know, they've got the hood on, so it just sort of stops them. You've got arms that go out at the shoulders. They, of course, rotate all the way around. You've got your bicep swivel. I will note that on both of my figures, and I've seen this on a few other figures that sort of share some of these parts, this bicep does not really connect all that well. It's not going anywhere, but it is sunken further down than the left. They both move fine, but of course it is sort of a visual thing. So it's some sort of construction problem, and it's weird that I see it on both. So I'm curious how many folks have it out there. We've got our double jointed elbows, and mine are still pretty tight. So we've got double jointed elbows there. And I mean, it's pretty normal stuff. You've got rotation, you've got hinges. And since I mentioned that that joint is tight, I will say that I did have to heat these guys up. A lot of stuff was stuck, and obviously some stuff still is. Mostly the hips because, well, when we get there, they are the old hips. They are the hips that BEBOP and Rocksteady came with when they first came out. So it's not the new ball socket that we're seeing lately. It's the ratchet joint. These guys do not have any torso articulation. Well, I say that. There probably is something under this overlay, but it really, I mean, you can't do anything with it. So you might as well assume it's not there. Legs can go out about that far, and then they kick forward. Watch me break this thing on camera. They go out about that far. They go backwards a little bit. You do have a thigh cut here. It's pretty minimal though, so just watch it. You will have to heat that up most likely. Just based on my experience, it was locked tight. It might as well have been a statue when I got him out of the box. You've got your double jointed knees, and then we've got rocker, and we've got hinges down at those ankles. This might be the only joint that was perfect out of the box. The ankles on both figures were just fine. Otherwise, though, I did have to heat both of these guys up. I didn't have to resort to any super hot water or boiling water or anything. I just used a hairdryer real quick, and they were able to sort of peel themselves apart. So they do move pretty well. They are limited in some ways because of the overlay that sits over their already chunky bodies. Bebop and Rocksteady aren't really the most mobile or dynamic figures in the line, but these guys are a little bit more locked down at the torso. Otherwise, it's really standard stuff for the NECA line. And let's be honest, I didn't get these because of their articulation. I got them because of how they looked. Well, I got them because I wanted to get all of the loot crates, so here we are. But I got these figures because I wanted this thing. And this is something that, while not exactly the same, kind of takes me back to the vintage Playmates kind of weird and goofy variants, because we've got a Bebop and Rocksteady, so why not give us something like this? We're also going to get the sort of pirate themed ones in the video game line, so it's sort of the same kind of thing. These existed in the show. There's a ton of parts reuse here, so why not give us this kind of goofy variant that also, makes use of some relatively obscure subject matter from the cartoon? And these work pretty well. There is, again, a lot of parts reuse. I mean, there's really not a whole lot new here. There is this overlay, which I think is new. I'm not really sure if we've seen it before. It doesn't really ring a bell, and I believe that's new. But a lot of this stuff is stuff we've seen before. So like the arms, we've seen that on Rocksteady, and I think Bebop has the same arms, at least for the most part. The legs are the same thing that we get on the Triceratons. They've even got the same kind of pants wrinkles, which I think are also Leatherhead's legs, if memory serves. And then you've got these, sort of bunny feet. We've got little new shoulder pads here, which have kind of the bunny fur on the arms, which I do like. We do, of course, get the Telltale Toon styling. So you've got the sort of bisected colors. So they're gray on the back and they're white on the front. And they do have a little cottontail on the back as well. Of course, they are covered for the most part in a lot of that cell-shaded sort of black line work, which I think works really well. It, of course, brings out the sculpt on these guys really well just because of the fact that they are mostly white, so the contrast is really high. So you've got, something that kind of runs down the arms, you've got it on the thighs, and then all over their fat guts there with, of course, that sort of pink, peachy sort of color for the belly, which has a lot of the sort of stitching design, just to showcase that, of course, they are wearing a costume, an Easter Bunny suit. And I think they look really good. There's really not a lot for me to gripe about outside of the whole thing that's going on both of these figures with this arm here. And then Rocksteady does have a little bit of a flub going on there. Is sort of, it's almost like the paint rubbed off while it was locked in underneath this sort of overlay piece. Thankfully, it's on the back, but it's still worth noting. They do, however, have different head sculpts. Well, obviously they're different characters, but they have different hood and ear sculpts as well. So these are really the same kind of heads that we've seen previously, but they do have different finishes to them. The colors on both are a little bit more saturated. So Rocksteady is a darker gray. Bebop is sort of a darker pig color. And then you've got, a little bit more heavy-handedness for the black accents inside the mouths, and specifically on Rocksteady, a lot around the horns and in sort of the wrinkles on the face there. There just seems to be a little bit more black, which I think looks really good, especially in this color. They do have different hoods as well, so Rocksteady's face is a little bit more pronounced because he's got the one that sort of pops over the eye line, and he's got the sort of crooked, gangly-looking ears, and then Bebop's is a little bit more clean, normal, I guess, for a hood with ears on it. But they do look really good. There's not a whole lot to complain about because there's really not a lot to really go over. It's a white body with a gray backside, and then you've got the two heads with some rabbit hoods on them. What more can you ask for? They look basically exactly like this in the show, so we really got what we asked for. And then as far as comparisons go, I mean, I got them side by side now. I really don't know if there's much to compare. You can sort of see a difference in sort of color patterning, and just the thickness of the black lines on the face, I think, is really what I'm going for here. Of course, you can see that the body shapes are different now because of the fact that they've got this new big torso overlay, and then of course they have different legs. So they've got the Triceraton Leatherhead legs, if I'm not misremembering. So you can see that they of course have some of the same body parts, but not necessarily all of them. And then the heads are pretty much the same thing. So there is and there isn't a lot to compare to here. These are your standard, these are your goofy bunny figures. Now, as far as accessories goes, these guys come with basically the exact same thing in the box, save for a deco change on one of the accessories. And to start with, they've got a bunch of hands, so each of them come with 4 extra hands. You've got a set of kind of style pose open palm hands. They're white, and of course, and they've got that sort of little pink circle on the inside of the hand there. These are hands that have all come with Bebop and Rocksteady as well. So some of them sort of fit, and some of them you might want to use other accessories for. Then you've got a right or a left hand, gripping hand rather, and then you've got a right trigger finger hand. They don't come with guns though. They do, however, come with this. This is not a TV remote, as Shredder calls it in the episode. This is something that Krang gives these guys. It's called a docilizer. It's supposed to like hypnotize or sort of entrance the human population, and you can use it to sort of, you know, throw it at the turtles or something like that, blast somebody with it, and it's supposed to make somebody calm and lucid and your slave, essentially, in many ways. And then you've got these two things. So you've got the Easter Bunny eggs here. So you've got a blue basket for Bebop, and you've got a purpley pink one for Rocksteady. And these are the same thing, but they do have a deco change that makes them look very unique. So there's sort of ribbons all over them. Sculpt on these is really nice. I mean, it's a nice sort of basket weave pattern. They definitely went all out on this. There's sort of, you know, like leaves and grass and stuff in there. And then the eggs, of course, inside, which are painted uniquely as well. So even the design on them is not the same. Different colors, different designs, the whole deal. So you've got those, and of course, those work really well with the gripping hands. So they don't come with a ton of stuff, but honestly, for this particular thing, you get absolutely everything you really need for these very specific versions of Bebop and Rocksteady. So yeah, these guys are fun. That's pretty much all it comes down to. They aren't the most articulated, and they aren't necessarily the most detailed figures either, but that doesn't matter because they sell the idea of what they are really well. It's Bebop and Rocksteady in a bunny suit that is cartoon styled. It's pulled off really well here. I think they look fantastic. They have a solid array of accessories. It's not a ton of stuff, but it's exactly what they need. And despite a few little hangups when it comes to articulation and that little weird arm thing that I'm seeing on mine, I'm really happy with these. I'm glad that we're getting some of this sort of goofier, more deep cut style of Toon stuff, because we've got a big core turtle set right now with the Toon line. I like getting this kind of stuff, again, to kind of take me back to that Playmates wacky variant kind of thing, because that's exactly what this feels like to me. You don't necessarily have to have these to complete your set, but if you do, it's a nice, fun little change up from hunting all of those major characters. So that's going to do it for this look at the Loot Crate Bunny Suit Bebop and Rocksteady. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.